So I kind of thought of this like really like cheesy idea that you're a Brit in Belgium and you love Belgian beers. So I figured we'd make a Belgian beers website, maybe try and add a bit of dynamic stuff into it. So I've just set up this. I'm just running like XAMPP on my machine. I know it's like old school PHP. It was just quick and dirty and easy. So I've set up this space. I've got a folder for it. I got ChatGPT, and then I've got this tool Cursor. So it's basically like Visual Studio Code, but they've just wrote some functionality on top of it to allow you to query various like AI tools. It'll be pretty familiar with you because you've probably used the hell out of like Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code and whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this folder. Let's go in XAMPP, htdocs, and Belgian beers. So let's open that. We got nothing in here. Could just create HTML, could just create PHP, but I'm just going to create an index file in PHP. So file, new text file, hello world. Hello world, yeah. Probably not too far off. You can actually create files with AI and have it do it for you, but I just, for easy sake, I've just created this blank page that we've got. So I wrote a little spec. Yeah, that's just my VS host. You can see I've just created your Belgian beers website here. So I've wrote this spec. Can you read it?
Yep. Website is a tribute to the greatest beers on earth.
I know you appreciate Belgian beers. So basically the specification for the website, it will have a modern looking, clean, simple website and themed in the colours of the Belgian flag. It will have some introduction text followed by a list of famous Belgian beers. It will follow up with an introduction to myself briefly. I'm a British expat, been living in Belgium for 10 years, and not only do I love this country, I love its food and I love their beers. So the key thing here is, rather than me just telling AI to do that, what I'd kind of like to do is like ask the question, like, what do you think of the rough spec? And that's why I've got ChatGPT open, because I use that to kind of do a lot of my thinking for me, whereas I use Cursor as an app to do my coding. But I like to kind of like think things through with this tool. So one of the cool things as well is it writes a spec for me. It does mean you kind of need to think through it a little bit, you know, what is it actually offering? So I take that text and then I put it back into my text. And I use this as my prompt in my code. So I kind of, you know, there's future expansion ideas. I don't want those. I don't want a commenting and rating section, but that actually would be cool. That's a really good idea. Be a database. We'll come back to that. I'm going to go with these first two bits.
Yep.
Actually, I'll start off with this. One. So in Cursor you get this composer window over here, or chat. So I'm not going to go too deep into these at the moment. I'll just paste my initial text in. I'll just get rid of that. And then I'm going to say this. Here's what I want you to create. And I'm going to submit it. So I don't know if you can see this very closely, but here you can see there's like a drop down. So by default, it puts you in the AI tool Claude, but you can see there's OpenAI stuff, there's other stuff in here. You can jump around. I've found that pretty useful. If I'm like doing a bit of code and I don't like the answer it's given me, I'll just switch to a different one and see what that one says. So I don't know if you kind of saw this coming down. You can see it's
Yeah.
it's created my HTML. You'll notice over here we've got like what I created. This hell world is now red because it's deleted that, and it's given me all this as green. So you kind of get the option to accept the file or reject it, which is good because sometimes, you know, this thing can just create a bunch of crap, and you're like, yeah, I don't want this anywhere near it. If you're feeling confident, you can just accept the file, you know, in one big go. But I see as well it's created a CSS file. Let's go over here and accept it. So there's my file there. It's got the Belgian colours. And now let's go to the web page and see if we've got anything. There we go.
That's amazing.
Doesn't really have like the Belgian colours though, does it? But this kind of gives me a good example to show something. When I've seen people that aren't techies that are just coding away in AI and building things, which is, I mean, it's amazing to see, but they actually, a lot of people don't understand, you know, the HTML or the, you know, the code behind it. I think we as techies have a little bit of an advantage because we can look at the website and say, okay, I want to change this thing. And Cursor allows you to select, let's say, a piece of code. And you can see here you can chat or edit. And this is really good because if I start typing things into here, like, can you update my header just to use the branding colors? It can sometimes just go and completely ruin everything you want to do when all you want to make is like a really small change. If I chat with this, you can see it's got like, this is the file I'm working on and these are the code lines that I'm going to work in. Can you make this hero space shorter in height? It takes up too much space on the page. Also, can you make the background of it a gradient of the Belgian color? Can't type. Belgian colors from our website, from our CSS. I don't know why it's come to 03. There we go. So you can see it's updated the CSS and the HTML. So if I click apply there, and let me go into the CSS and apply, you can see now it's showing you where it's modifying my code.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like tracking my changes, so I can have a quick look. And I can.
That's really useful rather than just giving it you and it looking great. You can also learn from it.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. So let's go back here. There we go. Kind of looks Belgian. Looks a bit better. We've got this area called Legendary Belgian Beers. I'm just going to go over to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, create me a CSV file of the top favorite Belgian beers. I'd like the columns to be like this. So it would be beer name, short description, longer description. What else have we got?
That'd be interesting.
Image URL. Please scrape me a full image path from the internet. Website address for the company that makes the beer. That'll do it for now.
A small Chile, all the ones.
Delirium Tremens, I think, is my favourite on this list.
Oh,
Or Duvel Vert, actually, the green Duvel.
yeah.
Actually, I don't want to copy it. Can you give me a file to download with this data? I thinking about this one.
It's taken a while.
I'll just
Copy wine waiting.
Oh, there we go. It saw me hovering over the copy link and it's like, screw you. So let's save it in Belgian beers. Belgian beers CSV, that'll do it. Okay, so let's go back to cursor. Let me just refresh this. Now I can come back here. So we've got this legendary Belgian beers. Ah, okay. It's already anticipated from my initial query that something will come here. Edit. I'm going to put it in chat though, just so I've got a bigger window. In the root of my web app, there is a CSV file now called Belgian beers.csv. That is the file name, yeah. I'd like you to use this as your data source to populate, get a load of dogs in, populate, I can't even type, man, the area, populate the beer cards with the cards.
So just kicked off, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, hey Siri. Actually saying that, oh, mine's just kicked off now. For the display, I would like you to use the title, the short description, and the image. Please create a nice and neat layout and ensure the images are all sized correctly as thumbnails. Let's see what it does. So here we go. We got some code now. I love these CSS classes it's creating, like beer content, beer image.
Appropriately named.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna blanket accept those, and I'm just gonna apply that to. It's not doing anything too crazy. So let's see how it's got on. Okay, so it's not pulling in my images, but this looks really nice. So if we look at the code, yeah, it's dropped some PHP in, open my file, does a bit of checking. Actually, doesn't give me an error message if my file's not found. Can you do some error checking to make sure the file is there? I have access to it, and if not, please write a kind message to the user. So it's going to beef that code up for me, maybe a bit too much. So we probably shouldn't see anything here. Okay, so now let's have a look why these images aren't loading. Let's just... Yeah, it's actually getting the file correctly. .404 not found.
Here we go.
Let's just go back here. Okay, these images are not showing too. Can you just update the code, update the data, and put in any random pictures of beers for now? Please ensure they load and are not for a pause. Oops, put a bit of W in there. I've done a hell of a lot of prompts, and I just say, "Oh, just give me an image, give me an icon for this," and it's never not worked. So whenever you demo something right, it's never going to work. Okay. It now contains placeholder images from Upsplash, a reliable source for free images. So let's do this again. Let me just take that out because I don't want to display it. Oh my god, they are not beer images.
Even then, he's still not got a few.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed. That's a really nice table. This is a cute looking lady. So I'm actually just going to try this guy. So let's try it here. Can you update the image links here to find pictures of the beers that we are hoping to display? See if Claude can do any better. We've got like 2 AI guys now just like fighting against each other. I've updated the image URLs to point to an image beer directory. You need to create...
Yeah, but now it's wanting you to put the image in.
It does, yeah. I don't want to use images from my own store. Can you just link to some images that are on the internet? If this doesn't work, I propose we kind of move on because, I mean, the image is really just for a layout thing. But I don't know. I think it's actually good for you to just see the back and forth of just trying to build something with one of these things. I mean, that's really what I wanted to show you. Like, I went from, zero website to a couple of prompts to also a bit of dynamic code that it creates itself with a little data source of a CSV file. I mean, you can really extend this as far as you want to go. So, for example, in this loop...
Could it create a database? If you wanted a database rather than CSV, could it create the MDB for you?
Yeah, ultimately, what I personally do is, looking at the data above, can you create me a script to generate a MySQL database? And then... So if I go into my local host... So here's my PHP database. Oh. So can you see there? It's like even creating the database, but it's also generating the insert records.
Content, yeah. It's great.
I'm just going to do it. I'm going to see how long it takes. Like, let's just actually create this database. Why are you... ChatGPT is really hungover.
When it's in heavy use as well, sometimes it'll only write out half and you have to put continue.
Okay.
I've come across that a few times. If you create a lot of text, it will just cut off at a certain point. You just tell it to continue.
Has it done it? Still thinking. It's using those Upsplash images. Likes to give you some tick boxes. It's a good little sort of junior developer for you. It's like, done this, done that.
It is, yeah.
So let's just whap this into here. And go. So if I go into my databases, I've got my Belgian beers database, I've got my beer table, I've got all my rows.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason why I can't tell this guy, like, I've just created a database for this, and I'm not using CSV anymore. Here's what my database looks like.
Put your connection string on it.
Yeah, it will, but I'm actually going to show it this so it knows what the database looks like. Can you update the code, and I will apply the DB connection strings. I'm just going to apply it. Where is it? Localhost, Belgian main. Oh, so it's just root. This is the most secure.
Ultimately secure.
Yeah, I mean, it's only my desktop machine, right? So let's see if that's worked. There we go. They're coming from a database.
That's amazing.
What we can do is... Oh, I didn't accept that. Oh, it's just some white space. This might be a big ask, but... Can you give me a little edit button?
I was just thinking the exact same then.
Edit icon next to the beers, to each beer. And if I click it, it opens up a new modal window. I'm asking a lot here, and allows me to edit the data. I need a save button, and when that's clicked, I'd like the record to be updated in the database. I tend to not want to ask too much like this, but, you know, sometimes it does a good job.
Aware.
I do find that when I'm working with, like, a big page and I start asking, you know, whatever tool to, like, edit and update parts, like, there's just too much in here for it to keep in its mind. So, like, I personally start refactoring a lot of things, like, in and out. I mean, it's done something, right? It's not...
It's added the model there, sort of show it when you click it. That's cool.
Let's see what happens. Let's click on the oval lady.
There's no edit button.
Yeah, so what did it do? It's created my form.
There's no edit, is it? Oh, the button. There we go. Button. Edit button.
I asked for an icon, didn't I? Do you see it?
No. Just go back to the code. You can see where it's put the button, but what's it done with it? So it's got a button, on click.
Let's, when I load the page, I can't see the button to edit.
Is it because it's using a class that probably hasn't been put into your CSS? It's using that like little information icon.
Yeah. You beat it. It needs font icons. So let's just apply that. It needs this link to that.
Yeah.
Let's add those to my CSS.
This is the beauty is it shows that you do need to have some knowledge to understand it. Because if you end up getting a conversation about how that's not working, that whole thread just dilutes the power of everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone a bit nuts. Let me just say, when the page loads, there's a modal shown, but I didn't even click any edit buttons. The modal should be hidden till I click edit, and I'd like this to display over the entire page. Okay, it looks like it's turning on and off some layers now. So, anything else I need to update? Yep, CSS. Hey, there we go.
Hey, look at that.
This is personally my favourite. Okay, doesn't seem to have updated. Let's just go back to the home page, see if it...
Because now what you'll need to do is you'll need to create the transact SQL script for the update in the database.
I think that's it. Remember earlier I was saying like I never like to ask it to do as much as that. Like I basically said like create me a CMS in like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
The modal looks great. Thank you. You've got to give this thing some love or it'll get angry with me.
It's good practice anyway. I make the kids say please to Alexa all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
They just bar commands at it. They used to bar commands at it, and I told them I'd switch it off and they carry on. I made them say please.
No, I get that. I get like this with AI. I'm just like I get so short with it, and just like it can. It must tell us like when I edit the modal, when I edit the details in the modal, can you update the record in the database for me?
It'd be interesting to see how it tells you that that's not good practice.
There we go. So we've got.
Using PHP, so it doesn't give a shit about good practice.
I still got a lot of love for PHP.
Yeah.
It's just. I don't know.
Big app for it, to be fair.
It's just it's really cheap to deploy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just been around for a while. I don't know, man. I'm old. It works.
I'm older.
So let's see what it's got now. Shimmy blue. Let's just say you'll love the blue. I like that it's actually built some error checking into this. Using password, yes. I basically just blind updated this. So where's my... Oh, we've got a new PHP file now. Where do we...
Yeah, makes sense.
Username was root and password was blank. Let's give this another go. This is a fantastic beer to go with your steak frites. I've just updated the title in this. I'm just gonna say XX and say changes. Says it's done.
All the best.
All the best. So let me just get an image as Orval beer. Open image in new tab. And let me edit it. Something funny's going on here, isn't it? It's just displaying the alt. It doesn't even have it. Can you... This image...
Oh, yeah, it's not got a source at all.
Yeah. Can you fix it? Get the image from the database, please. I don't know.
Well, that's not well formed anyway, line 46. It's broke.
Yeah, it's completely broke.
Oh, there you go. Image source equals.
Yeah.
Image URL, there you go. That's going to work.
I think... Oh, no, there we go.
Wait a minute, it's reset your username and password.
Yeah, I mean, here's probably where I'd stop and create like a class and some, configuration for all of these
Get
things.
this out of the way. It's root, not user.
Yeah. I should just have you all the time. You're like a second AI. So there we go. We've got a little CMS here, dude. This has literally been less than an hour. We've created like a dynamic web app with a database. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it now, there's all the things that you want on there. It's like, okay, well, now I want it to paginate when there's more than 5.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just messy stuff to write. But if this can just push out the template and you tweak it, it's great.
Where's my little web app? So...
I'm going to have to go in a minute, John, because I've got to help Ellen. She's...
No, I think that's it. I think we've achieved something in an hour. I think this is really great. I'm glad I got to kind of sit down and look at this with another techie and just build something, simple like this.
That's great. And you can see straight away, like, all the things that you'd need to do to it. Somebody might just throw this out up there. There'd be all sorts of problems, but you can see how you could just chip away. Like you say, you just abstract a bit out, focus on that bit, abstract that out, focus on that. So like the editing and, it's really clever.
I think this is going to force a lot of people that, they want to make apps, they want to do something, and they're going to have to, like, understand a little bit of the code and, even asking the AI itself, like, can you explain this code to me? I think it'll do a reasonable job of that. So, yeah. All right. Happy Sunday. Have a good one. Go get a beer.
All right, dude. I'll speak to you in a bit.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks for that, John. Thanks a lot.
No, thank you too. Bye.